And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we ventured in to Lily's summer home, and we pretty much slept a big portion of the first, day and a half. But, got all this out, his medications are all screwing with his body, so can't help it too much. Lily's cut herself because he accidentally started her, and we're patching her up. I would tell you to man up, but I can't really do that. As she gives a small giggle, I take advantage of her momentary distraction and gently press the cotton against her finger a few times. Thankfully, it's enough to do the job. We both settle somewhat as I bring the band-aid over the tip of her finger, covering the wound while making sure not to get it stuck to her fingernail. There, finished. You can move now. Taking her hand from mine, she gently clasps it in the other. Thank you. It's no problem. It's the least I can do after causing you to hurt yourself, after all. She lowers her head slightly at the apology, absent-mindedly rubbing her hand in what seems to be embarrassment. I really don't mind. Her answer doesn't seem to make much sense, given that what happened is pretty clearly my fault. I can't help grimacing at her, despite the fact that her dainty smile still holds. She must not like being reminded of the limitations of her lack of sight imposed on her. It's something I can't possibly fault her for. I've fallen prey to the same kind of feeling before, despite my condition not being nearly as ubiquitous in my life. Neither of us any the happier. We head back to the various smells of cooking food coming from the kitchen. I lay out the plates of food, steam slowly rising from the well-cooked rice and curry dishes, while Hanako lays out the cutlery. Knife one side, fork on the other, Western. How perfectly fitting for someone like Lily. As we take our seats, taking careful heed to the dark reddish tablecloth hanging below our knees, Lee emerges from the kitchen. In her hands are 3 glasses and a bottle of wine? As I recall our previous run-in with the devilish elixir, I hid my face in my palm. Alcohol? Seriously? She pauses as she reaches the table, a playful grin perched on her face. Akira specifically gave permission to take a bottle from her collection. Not only does she give alcohol to minors, she even lets them pilfer their own. The perfect model of a responsible adult, Kira is not. More to the point, though, is that this is hardly a meal deserving of alcohol. I'm starting to think Lily's the type to easily become hooked on things. Oh, Jesus. Oh, well, just a taste? What could possibly go wrong? It's not really the problem. I don't really have any qualms with it, but didn't you have a bad experience with it last time? Last time was likely due to drinking too much, so a single glass shouldn't prove a problem. Think of it as a learning experience. I can't recall many learning experiences that made me feel rotten before putting me to sleep, but I'll take your word for it. She dips an uninjured finger inside to feel the liquid level, tip against the bottom as the liquid rises up. The whites of her fingers almost seem to glow in the sun when the sunlight hits it, the delicate outline blurred and refracted by the glass. Her fingers are definitely longer than mine, the kind I'd think more suited for a pianist than a teacher. She's likely has done well if she learned to play. We quickly dig into our meals, forks and knives clattering against plates. None of us are particularly eager to speak while eating, Lily altogether too reserved for such a thing. Hanako probably is too shy to start conversation, and I too busy savoring the food. I like it's like, look, she's too shy, she's too reserved, I just like shoving my face full of food. Priorities. Hell yeah. Such a pedestrian activity, eating together at a table. It seems so utterly normal, yet it makes me realize how long it's been since I've done something like this. Just the three of us, sitting around a single table, eating as if we were a malformed family. Maybe this trip, as far away from everything as we are, was worth it. Wait, you didn't think it was worth it before? Oh well. It takes quite a long time, but eventually we all finish our surprisingly filling meal. The wine, thankfully, has little effect, given we've only had a glass or two each. I slump back in the seat, rubbing my stomach contently. I'm stuffed. Lily pats her mouth with a napkin, twice, only twice, and with every evenly timed intervals in between. It's hard to tell sometimes whether how she acts is a well-trained routine or a well-rehearsed act. I think I must be as well. Did you like it, Hanako? It was nice. Now that are all fed, shall we be off? Off? Where? Ah, you weren't privy to the discussion between Hanako and me earlier. See, an interesting thing is, like, there's a bunch of these words, and Hanako and me is not technically proper English. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but she really should have said Hanako and I. So it's really interesting to see that, and then, like, subtle be, like, randomly put in here, in a sense, right? Where a younger, yeah, like, they sometimes speak young for their age, right? I would not put it past me that a 17 to 18-year-old kid would say, like, Hanako and me. Whereas in the proper term is Hanako and I, in this case. But, you know, I'm probably overthinking it. Like I said, it's not incorrect. It's just not proper, in a sense. And it's weird coming from someone that is very astute and very proper. I get the impression that she's having a subtle dig at my sleeping in. We'll be going into the town nearby. I guess I should have expected two girls to take a holiday as an excuse to go shopping, no matter where on the planet they may be. I am interested to see more around the north, though, so it can only be a good thing. Sounds good. How long's the walk in, then? It's supposed to be around a mile to a mile and a half. Nearby, huh? Great. Does Japan operate in the imperial system, or... I thought they were metric. That's interesting. Actually, I don't know. I'm trying to think in my mind. I know it's such a random thing to harp on about, but I'm fairly sure they use the metric system there, don't they? I'm fairly sure, like, America is really the only place that uses the imperial system. Ah, but I digress. Nearby, huh? Great. Just great. This is not good for him. This much activity is probably not good. As we climb up the path, surrounded by trees and undergrowth, I watch Lily and Hanako walk ahead. The slight breeze all but whisks away the sound of Lily's cane gently tapping on the ground. I notice that Lily since removed the band-aid, now that the bleeding of her finger has stopped. A deep, lung-filling breath of the fresh country air makes me wish all the harder that the air around home has been quite so clean. Wait. Makes me wish harder that the air around home had been quite so clean. I guess it's like wish. Yeah, I guess yeah. Okay, I kind of get it. I'm probably just reading it wrong. I'm being very grammar Naziing right now. So I should probably stop. It can't even be half of a mile, but I'm already working up a sweat. It isn't pleasantly cool. It isn't a pleasantly cool day though, so I shouldn't be too hard on myself for it. Hey Lily, how well do you know this town anyway? Since I spent quite a few of my vacations here, up until I entered Yamaku, I'd say I know it fairly well. We used to drive there once a weekend then. How I wish Akira was here to drive us now. I quickly take a moment to rub my hands a couple of times, staving off the oddly cold feeling in them. Oh, this is not good. Yeah. This could not be good for him, especially if he has to carry something back. Did you like it up here? I'd say it was nice during winter, but as you can work out, summers get a little too hot for comfort. It's nice and quiet, at least. My family's real house is quite far south. When they left Japan, my parents gave it to Akira and me. Only Akira lives there now, after my moving to Yamaku. Well, quiet certainly describes this place. Though lonely is how I'd put it. Other than the proficient small town, there isn't another soul for miles around. Coming from a home nestled deep within the big city, it's certainly different. I think that if I'd not come to Yamaku, staying out in the country like this would be too much of a change to get used to. After getting accustomed to the school's isolation, though, the idea of living in a place such as this has become almost inviting. To be somewhere away from the hustle and bustle of the metropolitan centers. So, Hisao, have you been to Hokkaido before? Nah, I used to live down south, and we never had any field trips or holidays this far. Well, it's a new experience for you then. Yeah, it is. I'm surprised how nice it feels here. How about you, Hanako? She shakes her head from side to side. It's my first time too. As we continue walking, I begin to feel pins and needles in my legs. It's a little disturbing, given there's no reason for it to be happening. Could you two hold on a moment? I just need to... Is anything wrong? Nah, I just got pins and needles and... Yeah. My vocal cords suddenly become taut as my chest tightens instantaneously. I quickly pull my upper arms over it, trying to quell the shot of pain spreading throughout my entire body. Hisao? Lily's face is only mildly concerned, not knowing the sight which Hanako recoils from. I'm fine, just tired. I remove my arms from my chest and force myself to begin walking again. It's just a minor heart flutter, so it'll pass like the others. It only takes a couple of steps before my body violently revolts against me, my legs suddenly beginning to give way underneath me, and all my tensions in my tension in my knees seemingly evaporate. Before I can react, they uselessly give way under my weight, leaving me only enough time to brace myself and fall on all fours. Ah, damn! Sal, As I look up to her, I realize my face is still taut with pain, only adding that much more to her worrying. Hisao, Hanako, tell me what's going on. Hanako, tell me. Hanako quickly moves to my side as Lily almost panics, having little clue as to exactly how bad a condition I'm in. While she stands there petrified, I lower my face and take a deep breath. Come to a realization that makes me endlessly irritated with my stupid self. With all the excitement of my new surroundings, I'd entirely neglected to take my medication last night, or even this morning. Oh no, I totally forgot about that. Jesus. Taking another breath, the acute pain in my chest begins to die down as suddenly as it had arrived. Thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. As it does, I become acutely aware of the sweat by now pouring off my face and the two scared girls around me. Hisao! I'm fine, Lily. I'm fine. I screw up my brow in an effort to lever myself up. Hanako's arm quickly moves to catch me if I fall as I stumble a bit before regaining my balance. I look to Lily and Hanako, worry written on both their faces. I feel awful, utterly awful. I think we should go back. Realizing the futility of protesting, I look away in frustration. Fine. Gosh. Oh, man. I opened my eyes groggily, completely bereft of energy. For a while, I simply lied down lifelessly, staring at the ceiling as I reviewed the events of the morning in an attempt to organize my thoughts. I went to walk to town. My heart nearly gave way. We came back. I took my pills. I slept. I can only remember each period of time as a snapshot, but the timeline is clear enough. The memory of the girls' faces as I struggled to stand is an unpleasant one, stinging my feelings harshly. If I look at the ceiling hard enough, I can imagine the tile edges and small dimples of the ceiling in the hospital. That fact alone is enough to make me sit up and try to pull myself together. I scratched the back of my disheveled hair, glancing around the room. Lily and Hanako were nowhere to be seen, and the television's turned off. The clock above it says it's pretty late in the afternoon. The noticeably reddening sky outside the window confirms it further. I turn and pick myself up off the futon, swaying slightly as I put my arms out for balance. I suppose I better go look for the girls to see if they're all right. As I look out the window, I faintly see something in the distance. Straining my eyes, I can just make out the shape of a person's figure. Her long blonde hair, swaying in the faint breeze, makes her almost seem to melt into the bright yellow of the wheat field. Without a second thought, I leave the room to follow that lone apparition. The brightness of the settling sun assaults my freshly woken eyes, forcing me to avert them until they adjust. The long yellow strands of wheat brush against my legs as I wade through them, the densely grown fields making it hard to advance. Regardless, my eyes stay fixed ahead, true to that solitary figure. Within minutes, I reach her, meters behind her, turned back. Lily? She simply nods. Where's Hanako? She's in bed. She went to sleep after I calmed her down. She says it matter-of-factly, and with a few words as possible, as if saying any more was strictly forbidden. There's something different about her. Her normal, confident figure seems oddly fragile, her body offering no resistance to the breeze blowing her skirt. The strands of wheat sway from side to side, while a deafening pause passes, the only sound being their rustling. As we stand in the field alone, I know what I have to ask. What's wrong, Lily? You're not acting like you usually do. Remember when I talked of my family, Asao? Your family? I looked downward in thought, sifting through my scattered memories, the events seeming to leap ready to hand when I searched for it, rising to the surface as soon as it was recalled. After Hanako's birthday party, she gives a single, simple nod. It was nice, back then. You and I celebrating with Hanako, simply sharing presents, talking, having fun together. It was almost as if we were a family, one small, misshapen family. Wow, she just actually, repeated what we thought. That's... oh my. I thought that could just go on forever. Just the three of us. Happily ever after. She takes a long breath, a slight shakiness to it, just barely audible through the moving air. Even if my family was so far away, as long as we were together, that was all I needed. I don't want to lose you, Asao. I didn't even realize how afraid I was of losing someone else until today. I'm sorry, Lily. I know my body's weak, but even then I make the most stupid of mistakes. Don't apologize. Please, don't apologize. Lily? She turns to face me, her pale cheeks stained with tears. One misguided step after another, she stumbles towards me, her arms held out in search of so much as a faint brush against me. Aww. My heart doesn't race nor pound as I step towards Lily, gently taking and steadying her in my arms as she quickly clutches to me, sobbing. With her face trembling against my shoulder, the next words from her mouth were the last I expected. I love you, Asao. I love you. 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 Don't go away, I beg of you. Never, ever go away again. I love you, so please. So, that's why she's been acting like this. That tender voice when I called her. Her thoughtless concern at the slightest pain I might feel. After having been left in Japan without her family, and with only Akira, Hanako, and me around, she was afraid of losing yet another person who was close to her. She was genuinely worried for me. It's a strange feeling, a mix of surprise and sorrow, yet also the deepest gratitude I think I've ever felt. The only reaction I can muster among my conflicting emotions is a calm sigh. You idiot. How? For a fleeting moment, I feel my body become still. The only movement to be felt is the calm afternoon breeze. I said it before, didn't I? It's only natural to feel concerned about those around you. I'm still here, and I'll always be here, because I want to see you more each day, to share in your happiness, to support you in your sadness. But most of all, I'll still be here because I want to see you smile. Your true smile. A single gust of wind rustles the long strands of wheat. A second silence passes. Smile when you want to smile. Cry when you want to cry. I love you, Lily. So you don't have to hold back anymore. With that, her arms clutch my back as tightly as she can, her face buried beside mine. Her tears fall down my back, and she cries unrestrainably as the last of her resistance melts away. Asao. I close my eyes and bring my head down to her shoulder, holding her shaking frame tightly. It's okay, Lily. I'll never go away. I promise. We slowly walk back to the house, holding each other tightly as we take a seat inside. Lily leans her head on my shoulder as I put my arm around her waist. And with that, I think we will continue next time. So take care, guys, and stay frosty.